podcast bringing back a personal pop culture recommendation with Rin and Rojo.
We interrupt your regular program to give you this special announcement. Hey everybody, my name is Rojo. Welcome to Give It a Look podcast. We are here for a very special occasion. It's our very first Now Showing episode because Rin and I went and saw The Batman the other week, didn't we, Rin?
We sure did. It's very exciting to be, back at the cinemas.
Yeah, well, you said to me that this was the first thing that you'd seen in the old theatre in a long time. How was the experience for you?
Yeah, no, it was nice. Nice to be back in the cinema, have my popcorn, have my chop top, boysenberry for the win. I'm trying to think back because it would have been obviously pre-COVID. I'm trying to think maybe the last movie I saw at the cinema was Yesterday, potentially, like that Beatles film.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably like 3 years ago, I reckon, since I've been to the cinema.
Did it hit the spot for you? Did you miss it?
Yeah, it was nice to have a sense of normality. Just a regular Friday night, go to the cinema, go to the theatre.
Would you believe the audience clapped at the end of this? You remember that?
Yeah.
People clapping at the cinema classic. We're going to talk a bit about The Batman. Now, this first part is going to be spoiler-free. So if you haven't seen it yet, you've got nothing to worry about. We will put a very explicit spoiler warning about halfway through the app when we want to get into more specifics. But for now, it is spoiler-free and we will give you a recommendation, then go into spoilers. So, Rin, what were your general impressions of 2022's The Batman?
Classic DC film, being very dark visually,
Yes.
sometimes a bit too hard to see what's going on. Someone like myself, I kind of struggle to see in general. So I'm like, what's going on in there? If only I had the cat eyes or something and see in the dark.
Catwoman eyes?
Catwoman eyes. Speaking of Catwoman, I really liked Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I thought she's amazing. She's like super hot as well, suits the part. But I enjoy her in most things that she does. I really enjoyed her in Pretty Little Lies as well. And then going on to Robert Pattinson, he kind of goes from the Twilight franchise and really despised being in that, and now he's jumped to another big franchise. So it'll be interesting to see in the future how he looks back and reflects on his Batman experience. I kind of think I preferred Christian Bale's portrayal. I like the cocky Batman. I like someone who's a bit more confident, sure of themselves. The kind of gist I was getting with Robert Pattinson is he kind of gave me like teenage angsty vibes, like, Mom, it's not a phase. I want to be a Batman. What were your thoughts about the film?
In general, I feel very conflicted on this film. It took me a while to really warm to it. But once I was in, I was really in. And I think there is quite a bit to like about this. One is the performances. I liked that it was slower paced and it had that grounded detective focus. And it has a mystery at the center of it, which I found really compelling. You do see it being very heavily influenced by David Fincher's Seven. I think throughout most of the film, it's raining torrentially in Gotham. Gee, I didn't know this place was so dreary and set around Halloween. Everything's very gothic. Both Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
You know
just
what?
Really,
I didn't realise it was him until I was looking it up later, and I was like, oh, well, damn.
There's a few points where you can see it kind of in his brow and his eyes. He's obviously having fun there. Paul Dano as the Riddler as well. A very creepy performance, a very John Doe 7-esque performance.
Yeah, it was
as well.
It was nice to see him on this big screen again. I'm sure he's been in a lot of other films, but the last thing I remember seeing him in was Little Miss Sunshine. Nice to see him again.
Yeah, I suppose he's not necessarily an A-lister. He doesn't tend to go for this big kind of stuff. A lot of the time he's behind his tape mask. There are certain choices that are made in about the last third of the film which rubbed me the wrong way because it looked like it was going to make some really bold decisions that I would have been really impressed with if they followed through on it. And then the film seemed to pull its punches. And that kind of annoyed me. I understand why the punches were pulled, but I really wanted to admire this film and respect it, but I don't. I like most of it, but There's some issues towards the end there. It has its own feel as well. Like, it's different from the Nolan franchise. It's very different from Schumacher's films and very different again from Burton's films as well.
For me, it hasn't left like a lasting impression. People asked me what I thought of it. I kind of was like, yeah, it was okay. I think I'm more captured by the Christopher Nolan series. Again, it wasn't a bad film by any means. There was a lot of aspects I did like. I think I just didn't have that wow factor in particular. I kind of sit here now not remembering a heck of a lot about it, unfortunately. It's a 3-hour movie. It's very long. Sometimes you need a bit of a break in between, I think.
Bring your shiwi, is what you're saying.
A shiwi, maybe an intermission or something. I think I'm going to say give it a look. I think people should, check it out and form their own opinions. Kind of quoting from 10 Things I Hate About You, where, I wasn't underwhelmed, I wasn't overwhelmed, I was just whelmed. And that's kind of how I feel.
I'm also going to say give it a look. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff in there to like, and this will really be some people's vibe. When we get into spoilers, people are going to think maybe mine are a bit nitpicky and others won't have a problem with them. It's a long film, be prepared to get into it. Not for kids. No. I think is fair to say, pushes about as far as you can with the rating that it has. And I think it is just very dark in tone as well. That's a mutual give it a look from us with The Batman. Now, we are entering spoiler territory. We're not wearing hockey pads anymore. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. Let's talk spoilers. I really liked the central mystery in this film, and I liked that it seemed to start diving into twists involving the Wayne family and cover-ups and how Batman's existence and approach were basically enabling other grandiose loners to start wreaking havoc in Gotham. So the Riddler is really taking his cues from the vigilante justice that Batman was. And I was like, that's a good little flip. Once the Riddler gets caught, everything in this film became very sloppy for me.
I agree. It was a bit lackluster. They were just like, there he is. And I was like, oh, is that it? Like, is that the grand unveiling?
Yeah, it seems to reach a natural endpoint several times, not just there, but later, and then starts up again. I talked a bit about the film seeming to set itself up to take big risks, and what I was referring to there is that if it was going to follow through on its themes, it looked like it was either going to result in Batman dying or Batman decommissioning the Batman project, if you like, because he'd come to a realization that he'd enabled all this behavior. And there was a point, you were sitting next to me, Rin, where I thought Batman's about to die. And I think I said, wow, or something. Yeah. And then he was fine. And
was that before or after you grabbed my popcorn?
I was so tense. I just needed to eat something.
Needed a snack.
A bat snack.
A bat snack.
It was so disappointing because I would have liked to have seen a different take. And this is the thing, when you're dealing with Batman, one of the biggest characters in pop culture, you can only do so much different. And so I realized, okay, here we go. We're doing the same franchise table setting bullshit that we've seen a million times before. We get a glimpse of the Joker. And I just felt kind of tired. I'm not saying that I'm not interested in more stories. I'm saying that this talked a big game. This talked a big game, and it decided not to follow through with it. Now, what they can do to make this stick in the sequel, right, is they need to make sure that Bruce Wayne transitions more into what you were saying with
the cocky
because
kind
he
of
realizes, he needs to be a public beacon of hope. In the next film, they need to make sure that he is out there giving speeches. He is building a thing. If they don't, then everything in this film has been wasted. If you're going to keep exactly the same tone, it's not going to work. Yeah,
I think the age I was gauging from him from seeing dates and things like that, I think I worked out he was supposed to be between 27, 30-ish. I think he was supposed to be about that age. But to me, his whole appearance and demeanor really made me think he was like an angsty 14-year-old boy. He's very reclusive, and his only real friend in the world is Alfred. Going back to what you were saying before about having that glimpse of the Joker, what I really wanted that scene to be, which is we see the Riddler in his holding stall. All we hear is a voice, right? Then we find out it's the Joker in another room next door to him. But what I was hoping was in the Riddler, because we didn't see any body at that stage, I was hoping that voice that the Riddler was hearing was in his own head, and then he was going to transform into the Joker, like, haha, look, multiple personalities. Obviously, that goes against probably what's in the comics. That would have been a twist, and I would have been like, whoa, mic drop. That would have been amazing.
I'm going to post a link to a deleted scene, and I'll make sure I mark it with spoilers, because the Joker was featured more. The Joker is going to be played by the Irish actor Barry Cohen. Batman has already encountered the Joker and put him away in Arkham, but you still don't get to see his face. I don't know how they're going to get away with actually showing his face because he's got like acid burns all over his face. It's quite understated and slow moving. Like every time Batman emerges from the shadows, it's as this kind of slow pace to it. And it's an understated performance from Pattinson, but his character needs to show significant change in the second one for the choices made at the end there to really work for me. Any other thoughts?
No, I don't think so.
Well, there you have it. We're still saying give it a look for the Batman. Should still be in cinemas, but obviously check your local guides or whatnot. We're looking to do more of these Now Showing episodes in the future, so stay tuned. But otherwise, we will see all of y'all on our regular next episode. Give us your best Batman impression.
I am the Batman.
I am the night.
I can't do... I am the Batman. I can't...
Why are you the Godfather as well as the Batman?